Hey everybody, and welcome back to episode 9 of the Inspo Pod. I hope you're all well. Um, how exciting, episode 9. And this is probably the realest episode that I have done so far because it's the first episode that I am recording within a week of publishing it, if that makes sense. And the goal is really to get to a place of being able to have a day every week where I just record and edit and publish same day or next day so that everything I talk about is super fresh and you guys are listening basically in real time and hearing about my life, etc. Kind of as and when it happens. And that's where we want to get to. But at the moment, I'm still working full time. I still have several side hustles, and this is just the passion. So, unfortunately, it's not feasible at the moment. But yeah, this episode is going to be recorded within a week of publishing. I'm literally publishing it in 4 days. So this is probably the freshest episode you're going to hear. So at the time of hearing this, if you hear it on the day it's released, I recorded 4 days ago. Amazing. And it's so good to get to episode 9. Episode 10 is going to be an absolute scorcher. I'm having the lovely Vary and we're going to Brewdog Waterloo for World Podcast Day, which is fantastic. So episode 10 is going to be super exciting. But how good that we're here. Episode 9. How amazing. I'm super proud. Thank you all for listening so far and coming on this journey with me. So let's get into it. Today, I wanted to just touch a little bit on like dating, really, and just men and women and kind of what's going on in the world, etc. So I want to hear everybody's dating stories. I would love for my listeners to write in or comment and tell me your dating stories, your dating experiences, how you're finding it, how you feel, male or female. It's good to get both perspectives. And I'll tell you how I feel, really. So I feel, here we go. I feel as though there's a big struggle at the moment between male and female. And I feel as though men are struggling with dating and women are struggling with dating, respectively. So I feel like men's struggle is coming from let's be real, there's a male loneliness epidemic at the moment, let's be real. And I think men are really struggling with knowing whether to approach women or not and knowing where the boundaries are and not wanting to cross lines but also not knowing whether women even want them or need them anymore, because I feel like for the first time ever, women don't really need men, right? We don't. It's so unfortunate, but we just don't. And I think it's a real struggle for men. And I don't think they really know how to handle it. Some men obviously are going down the route of resenting women, hating women, just some men even are going as far as like being abusive towards women, which is not okay. And then other men are just simply like readjusting, which is brilliant. Like readjust, try different approaches, approach the situation differently. But it's tough. And I understand like it's hard. Like men have always had a role and they've always been needed and they've always been necessary. Like go back in the past, even 100 years ago, just 100 years ago, a woman had to be married to do anything in life. And this is the sad facts, unfortunately. Like we needed men, we had to have men. And a woman without a man was like just not as important or not respected or not anything really, you know? To have a woman without a man was kind of a rare thing. So with that in mind, I don't think men really know how to handle like this new situation, you know? And yeah, it's tough for them. It really is. But then I think women's struggle is that men, because we don't need them anymore, our standards are higher. And I think a lot of men are not matching up. Sorry to say. I think men are struggling to provide what women need because women no longer need a title. Women no longer need financially looking after, although it is nice and some of us do love it. Guilty. Women no longer need that. Women no longer need a surname just to get by. Women no longer need someone to go out and work and do the work. What women need is emotional support, great sex life, emotional stability, trust, honesty, communication. And I think men sometimes are struggling to provide these things or to understand that that is what we need. So, yeah, it's a real struggle. I think we're all just out here doing our best, and Hinge and Tinder, etc. Oh, it's so long. Like, I'm so over the dating apps. I'm so over it. And it's hard. And I think I would love to get people's input on where you are in the country or the world and how you're finding it, because I think in London it's so hard because like there's so many of us in London and people just don't want to date, you know? Or they want to date and they just don't want to like settle, you know? Um, so it'd be interesting to know if that's different around the country or around the world, you know, what the difference is and whether it's just a London thing. Because I have gone to other cities. I'm in another city at the moment of recording and tried Hinge out here and it's just not good. So yeah. So it'd be really, really interesting, definitely, to know like, is dating easier in small villages? Is it easier in the city? Like, you would assume, especially from like the Sex and the City era, you know, and watching those kind of shows, like one would assume that dating's easier in the city because there's so many people to date and everyone's in the city, right? But then also from those shows and also from living there, I think it's the abundance of people that makes it more difficult because everyone's got so much choice and people just don't want to. People are like, oh my God, there's someone else. And also, I find with London, it's so far to get to anywhere. Like, and no one has a car. So if you live on the other side of London or even like an hour away, like I'm like not prepared to travel. Although I would be for the right person. But then I think a lot of other people like also not prepared to travel. So then it's like, how are you going to meet that right person if you're not traveling to each other and you're not, you know, dating like in that way? So it's really tough. It's tough out there, guys. It's tough. Um, and I would love to know also whether anyone over the age of 30 feels like dating has changed, because I feel as though dating has evolved in such a way that like a few years back, I'm just doing my hair while I'm recording this. Um, a few years back, maybe 10 years ago, I feel like dating was also easier. I think it's getting worse and worse. And I think that comes with the evolution of dating apps and the evolution of the internet and Instagram. And I mean, I've come from like the MySpace days. I'm mid-30s, like I'm old hat. Like MySpace days were so easy. Like we had MSN, we had MySpace, but you just used those things to get in contact with people you already knew. And that was basically the limit of it, right? So if you wanted to date, you would date people you know or people that know people you know. Does that make sense? And then you would just kind of have them on social media or the internet through knowing them rather than just having millions of people being able to like follow you when they don't know you, you know? And isn't it mad that we think nowadays that like having a million followers is such a good thing? Like we regard that so highly. When really, it's just people you've never met just on the internet clicking a button. It's crazy. It's crazy. Um, yeah, it's just crazy. It's really crazy. I don't know how I feel about the whole internet thing. I don't know how I feel about dating apps. I don't know how I feel about like Instagram DMs and all this malarkey. Like people always talk about, oh, he DM'd me on Instagram, that's how we met. And I'm like, no one DMs me on Instagram. What am I doing wrong? I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I don't know what it means. I also I reminisce sometimes. Who else used Plenty of Fish? I feel like I loved Plenty of Fish at the time. When I was in my 20s and Plenty of Fish came out, I was like, oh my God, I love this dating site. And now I look at it as like the seediest thing ever, but I know people still use it. So maybe it's not that seedy. Maybe I'm just associating it with some bad experiences of bad messages I received on there when I was younger. But I see it as like, oh my God, the seediness. Um, so yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on dating. And like, I really do think men and women alike are both facing so many challenges. And I think we're just not coming together on it. Men are not communicating their challenges in the right way. They'll communicate it sometimes. Like some men will literally communicate in the worst way and be like, I hate women, you don't need us anymore, blah, 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 and like vocalize in the wrong way. Or not even vocalize, like display it in other ways, like violence or aggression or whatever. And then some women are not vocalizing from their side in the right way in terms of like saying what they need from a man or allowing men to be in their life. I think there's a really fine line between sort of you've got to let people in, right? But then also there's a limit. So I find it really hard. I really struggle with that boundary of like, I want to let men in, but also I'm so done. I'm so done. And the boundary, like finding like the right middle lane is so tricky. So tricky. Because like I want to meet men, but then at the same time, I'm so done with them. And then I'm like, how do I let them in, but without wasting all of my time on the wrong people? So, I mean, any advice would be great. I don't know where to go with it. Like, I don't know really how to date. I really don't. I actually don't. That's honestly the honest truth. This is me being super real in this episode. I actually have no idea how to date. Like, I'm just so over it, as I think many people are. And I've done a couple of episodes previously, if you've been listening to this first season, just around like how to be happy in yourself and how that's the most important thing. And I really do believe in that. I really believe once you're happy on your own, you will find someone. I still believe in that, and I still believe that that's true. And I also really believe in manifesting. So if you manifest someone into your life, like you're ready for that person, you know what you want, it also can happen. But at the same time as all of that, the kind of middle ground where you're like waiting around and you're trying to figure it out, I'm so done. Like it's so draining. And I think we all just have to try and persevere, but God, is it hard? Like, let's be real. And I feel like some of my episodes have come across maybe a little bit preachy, in terms of I'm in a really good place in life and I wanted to share that with the world and kind of inspire. And I think I have done that. But at the same time, I haven't really expressed how difficult it is. And I think that's what I'm doing now. Because it just is, it's really freaking difficult. Like, I just don't even know. Like, people used to, I wish I was born in the old days where people used to just go to a dance, like your grandparents would say, like, we went to a dance and we met at a dance and we just were great. Like we just met each other and it was just great from there on out. Like they knew instantly, and like granddads always say, like, I knew from the minute I saw your nan. Like, I think that's the sweetest thing. It's so sweet. And I love that. But we just don't really have that anymore. Anyway, enough moaning. On to something positive. I am going to share some dating tips with you, though, that do make life a little bit easier. And I used to do these so much in my 20s. I'm just so bad these days. I feel like mid-30s, I'm so over it. / so like so not good at it anymore. / also a little bit overweight compared to what I used to be. So I'm just like, it just doesn't work in the same way, but it always used to work for me. And it does still work to a certain extent now. So if you go back to those times, nan and granddad times, let's go back like 100 years, 50 years, whatever, when people used to meet in the street or meet at like a dance or whatever, there's always been this thing of like, a man needs to feel needed. And I think that's where men are struggling nowadays with like where to place themselves, or, you know, they're not needed anymore. What can they provide for us? And they don't have a place really anymore in certain situations. And it's a struggle for them. And I get that. And they've always had that need to, you know, that desire to feel needed. And men have always been needed. That's the thing. They've always been the provider. They've always been needed. And men are very practical. So like the way to get a man to like you, whether we like it or not, is to make them feel like they're needed. They need to feel like they're helping with something in some way or being some kind of hero. And it's just the way psychology is, unfortunately. So in their old days, I read something once that really stuck with me, which was something that women used to do to get men to make the first move is drop a handkerchief. So when women used to walk along the street when they were really young, and they were, you know, in that era of attracting a man, because you had to attract a man at a certain age to get married, whatever, they would drop the handkerchief on the floor when they saw a hot guy or a nice guy, whatever, because it's the man's opportunity to then pick up the handkerchief, hand it to them, and, you know, provide assistance and be the hero. And like it gives them an in. So it's almost like, oh, I've dropped my handkerchief. This is your opportunity to step up, you know? And then that allows the man to make their first move, because back then women didn't make the first move. But then if you think about it, they did, because that is the first move. So women, let's be real, guys, women have always been in control. We might not have looked like we were, but women always had the upper hand. Let's be real. And I really think that that has that way of dating still translates today. So for example, I used to go to bars and I used to deliberately stand on the wrong side of where the straws were when straws were a thing in bars. And the cute guy that I had in my eye line would be in between me and the straws. And then what I would do is once I've ordered my drinks, if they hadn't made a move by then, I would say, I'm so sorry. Please, can you pass me a straw? It's just such a simple little in. And if they like you or they think you're cute, they will talk to you unless they're super shy. But that's rare. Like most men in a bar will be like, this girl's asked me for a straw. She's asked me for help. They instantly like, you know how men have this level of audacity that women just don't have? Sorry, guys, but you do. Men have audacity in abundance. That audacity kicks in and it's like, oh, I can help her. And now I'm talking to her. So, and then they might just be like, can I have your number? Or like your top or whatever their chat is, it gives them an in, it gives them an opportunity. So that always used to work for me. But I think it can be like so simple. It doesn't have to be in a bar. Like it can be so simple. It can be just anything in life where if there's a guy that you like, just ask for help or just give them an opportunity to help without asking. Either of those things works. Like if it's someone at work, don't shit where you eat, guys. Been there, done that. Do you know how many people meet at work though? So many. I think that's why it happens so much, is because dating is so hard. So everybody meets at work these days. But anyway, been there, done it a million times. Don't shit where you eat. Don't shit on your own doorstep. Is that the phrase? I don't know. But work is a good example. Like if you need help with a project and this guy that you like, just find a way of asking for help. Or find a way of like communicating to them that you're working on something that you don't know how to do, and let them help you. But then again, this goes back to something I hate, which is women dumbing themselves down. And it's what we've done for centuries. We dumb ourselves down for men because realistically, we don't always need help. And we do dumb ourselves down for men. But I think in the instance of if there's a guy that you like and you're just asking for some kind of assistance, I think it's okay. I'm not here for like dumbing down for the male attention, but I am here for, if there's a guy you like, give them an opportunity to feel needed and feel wanted, because there has to be that middle ground. And we have to understand that that is within their nature to feel that way. So we have to give them that. But then I would say, once you're dating someone, don't dumb yourself down. Be really clear that you're really intelligent, you know, because we are. So yeah, that's kind of my main tip really for dating. I don't want to talk about dating for this whole episode. So for the rest of the episode, we're just going to talk about a few of my icks, because we always end an episode, guys, on icks. It's just kind of the theme of the Inspo Pod, is to talk inspiration, discuss topics and themes, and then do icks just for fun. Because why not? I'd love to hear some of your icks as well. Please send them in. And then once we've done icks, I'm going to tell you about episode 10 and what's coming in the future. And then that's it. And then I want you all to like and subscribe. So let's talk about dating icks. I have quite a few. There's a shock. Dating icks. There's so many. I think paying on a date. So this is where my icks come in. This is one for men and one for women. So an ick for me is when men don't offer to pay, but with no explanation. So I'm quite traditional. I like a guy just to pay for a first date, even if it's just a coffee. And then I will always offer, and I will always pay for like the second date onwards, like I just think first date rules is like the man should at least offer or give you a reason why not. So I've had it before where a guy has literally been honest with me and said, like, look, I'm in a really tough financial situation. I don't want that to stop me from dating. I really like you. But right now, this is my situation with my job. This is where I'm at. We can't do anything expensive because I just can't afford it. That was really honest. And I said, like, look, let's do this then that you can afford. And then if we're getting on and we want to go somewhere else, I don't mind paying. So that's fine. Went to a bar after, I paid for the bar after, like got us a few drinks, fine. Because that guy's been honest with me. And, as a man, the honesty and the like confidence it takes, or like the guts it takes to like admit that you're struggling, I think is admirable. So that's fine. But I think if a guy goes to a date and doesn't even offer to pay anything and gives you no explanation, for me, that would come across as they're just defiant, that they're against feminism and they just want to be a twat. So that's where I would be with that. So that's an ick. But then on the flip side, I've seen some TikToks where women are like calling men out for like not paying for everything, and like say they've ordered like the most expensive stuff, and then them as a woman have not even offered to contribute anything, and then they're there saying this man is broke, blah blah blah, and not even saying thank you. That's also an ick for me, and I'm sure it is for men. Like there's a line on both sides, and we need to all be in the middle of these lines. Men need to do their part and also communicate. And I think women need to say thank you and don't be a twat, and always offer. Like I will always on a date say, like, do you want me to contribute? I never say, do you want me to pay the full thing on a first date? Because that's not what I think should happen. But I will always say, do you want me to contribute? Let me pay half. Absolutely. Because I think that's only fair. So there's a couple of icks for like the actual date and paying. I also have an ick, which is like people making phone calls on dates, because how fucking rude. How fucking rude. I've had a date before where a guy literally went to the toilet and he was in there for 25 minutes. And I wondered if he'd climb through the window. Turns out he was ringing his mum. I'm sorry? Ringing your mum? Mental. Like, I get it, ring your mum after, or like as we're leaving the date, if we're like walking the same way and you're like, oh, I really want to ring my mum, like tell her I had a good time with you. Cute. Okay. Tell me you're going to do it first. See if I'm on board, see what my reaction is, and then cute. Yeah, let's do it. Let's call mummy. I still think it's a bit weird because I wouldn't do that, but cute. Okay, whatever floats your boat. But to disappear and make a phone call for that long on a first date is rude as fuck. Rude AF. Like, what are you doing? Get off the phone, especially to fucking mummy. Like, no, that's not okay. But then even worse than that is taking phone calls at the dinner table. Like, I've had it where like my family have been unwell and like a family member's in hospital, and I'll say, like, look, disclosure, so and so in my family's not well. Don't need to talk about it. We're all good. But if my phone rings, I might need to answer it, and I'll be super quick. Fair. 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 you know? Let's be honest, family comes before someone you've just met. But again, communication, guys, is where it comes back to communication every damn time. But to just take a random phone call at the dinner table and just chat away is just so rude, beyond rude. Even texting for ages on your phone at the dinner table or at the drinks table or whatever table you're at or wherever you are. Like, I've been for a walk with guys before. They've just been texting away on their phone. I'm like, am I even here? Like, what's the point? Why are you wasting my time? Rude, 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 so rude. Um, so yeah, I mean, I do go on my phone. I'm definitely a phone addict. I can't keep my phone out of my hand. But I will just say like, oh, sorry, I'm just replying to this, or I've just got a work thing, or my friend's just texted me, she needs to know this, and I'll just do it quick. And I'll be like, shh, sorry about that. It's just the saying sorry about that. It just makes it better, you know? Because people are rude, man. People are rude. And then I want to talk about a non-dating one, which has been on my mind for weeks while I've been recording these episodes, and I just haven't, I keep forgetting to say it on my icks sections. And it's similar. It's being on the phone on speaker in public. Why? Why you do this? I don't know. So, do you know what really irks me is when people do it on the bus. Like the amount of times I've been on a bus journey and someone will just pick up their phone like this, speaker, and you can hear the entire convo. And I literally just want to sit there and go, to your ear, please. That's what it's there for. Speaker is for when you're busy and alone. Put it on speaker. Great. The ear micro or speaker or whatever, the private speaker, is for when you're on a bus or in public or on a date. We don't need speaker. Unless you're in a group setting and it's like work or you're with friends or something and everyone needs to hear what the person on the phone is saying and you're like walking, whatever. But you know, not everyone on a bus or restaurant needs to hear your freaking conversation. They get a grip. Get a grip. And on that note, another ick is get headphones. People that play their phones out loud in public, especially on a bus in London, what the fuck are you playing at? Sorry for all the swearing in this episode, but I am such a nice person and I'm so kind to people. But when it comes to this, I literally, in my head, turn into the biggest arsehole. I really want to go to like Poundland and get £1 like earphones, like headphones, and just go onto a bus and be like, do you not have £1? Because these are £1. Use them and just give them away and just be like, if you can't afford £1 headphones, there's something wrong with your life. Like you shouldn't even have a mobile phone. Get headphones. Rude. Obviously, I'm kind of joking, but I'm kind of also really kind of not because I just think it's really rude. Really rude. Um, any more icks? I'm just trying to think. I love to just think on the spot. I don't really plan my podcast episodes. I always plan like a rough outline and then I just roll with it. So I'm just trying to think if there's any more icks. Oh my God, people putting their feet on tables and chairs on dates or in general in restaurants and bars. Rude. We're sticking with the like date theme now. People burping on a first date? No. I'm such an open person. So when I'm in a relationship, in the comfort of our own homes, I am just such a normal human. Like, let me burp, let me whatever. Like, I will go toilet with the door open. I don't give a shit, literally. But if I'm in public, especially on a first date or if I'm newly dating someone, still in the talking stage, still in the dating stage, I am not about to eat or drink my food and drink and just do that in public. Like, it's not okay. And I just think men shouldn't do it either. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I don't know. And then one last ick, which is so random, but it's just dating in general. Don't ask people how many people they've slept with. That's such a I'm 18 kind of thing to do. Like once you're over 18, don't do that. It's so weird. It's so weird. Like people don't seem to do that anymore as I've got older. Thank God people have grown up. But this you still get the odd person that will be like, so what's your body count? So how many people have you slept with? And men as well will say, so have you ever been with a girl? Like, go away. Go away. How disgusting. How rude. Anyway, that's enough icks for today. So yeah, I'd love to know people's thoughts. Please write in. Please email me, bethany@theinspopod.com. Is it .com or is it .co.uk? It's .co.uk. Bethany@theinspopod.co.uk. Email me, message me, comment on Spotify when you're listening on there, comment on YouTube if you're watching me on here. Like, please talk, let me know, because I love to hear from you all. And if anyone wants to shout out an episode, again, let me know. If anyone wants to be a guest, absolutely let me know. I'd love to, interview some inspirational people who have a lot to say. So, please do. And then just to wrap up, let's just talk about how this is going to go from here on out. So we've got this episode here that you're listening to as we speak. We've got episode 10 coming out next Tuesday, with Vary, who was a guest in one of my early episodes, one of my best friends, biggest inspirations. Beautiful, beautiful soul, bubbly, bubbly, like amazing human who's spiritual and beautiful and everything else. And that's going to be a super fun episode because we're going to be recording that in Brewdog in Waterloo for International Podcast Day. So that's a bit of a celebration. And then that's going to be episode 10. So that's going to be the end of this season, guys. Like, you've stuck with me for this whole journey. Thank you so much. And I think we're just going to talk all things inspiration, spirituality, and podcasts on that episode, obviously in line with International Podcast Day. And from there on out, I'm going to take a bit of downtime just to kind of reassess and replan, ready for the next season, and get some more guests. So as I said, I'm really open to interviewing more people, or if you have a podcast and you want to interview me, or you don't have a podcast but you want to interview me on my podcast, and you want to, you can use the episodes. Anyone that features on my podcast can use these episodes for their own, spotlight account, voiceover work, their portfolio, their own YouTube channel, their own podcast. Like, I'm here to collab. So please do bear that in mind. And then season 2 will be coming probably close to Christmas, to end 2024. I'm going to take a bit of downtime while I focus on family and my job and holidays and various things I've got going on. And then we're going to sort of reconvene in winter with some fresh ideas, some fresh episodes, and hopefully some fresh guests. So yeah, exciting times, really exciting times. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. So thank you all for listening and watching and liking and subscribing. Please share with your friends. As I said, please email me, please message me, please comment, etc., etc. Like, the subscribes and the downloads really matter to me as well. Like, I want to hear from you all and I want you to share with everyone, but the amount of subscribes and downloads I get is so key to this kind of continuing and being a success. So yeah, I would love you to download on Spotify, even if you download it and then several weeks later you undownload, like, fine. But please download my episode. Please listen to me on your commute to work or wherever you are. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. And here's to the future. You're going to love episode 10, so make sure you listen to that one. It's going to be a good one. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you all. Sending love. Bye.